This is a podcast from the Queen City Podcast Network.
Welcome to Nerd School.
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Yeah.
Suck it, nerds!
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Suck it, nerds!
Nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
Suck it, nerds!
Scissor me, daddy ass.
Welcome to Nerd School.
My name is Low Key. Welcome to the Nerd School podcast. You jerk.
Well, what do you say? Well, do-gooders, you might have remembered we left off talking about Aquila and the Bee, and I was supposed to watch it, and I did watch 13 seconds of the opening.
Sir.
Only 13 seconds.
I got distracted or something happened. I can't remember. For some reason, I started watching like right before I had to go to work or something. I turned it on and I was like, "Wait, I gotta leave. What am I doing?" But we were right at, I think, if I remember correctly, we were right at the part where T'Challa, Okoye, and Nakia. I spelled it phonetically, so I wouldn't make the brand fun deck. Naki again. Well, I spelled it weird. It looks like Nukia, how I wrote it, but I was like, "Who's Nukia?" But I wrote it like that, so I wouldn't say Nokia. Nakia traveled to Busan in South Korea, where they've learned that Claw is planning to sell the artifact there to a CIA agent, Everett K. Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And I had made a note, and Art Star and I talked about it on our private episode, that song that's playing is by the Gangnam Style guy and Snoop Dogg. Had a collaboration.
Psy,
yeah.
PSY.
Everett
K. Ross we first met him in Civil War, but he was created by Christopher Priest and Kenny Martinez in Khazar number 17 in 1998. His appearance in the first Black Panther Marvel Knights volume is based heavily on Michael J. Fox, but Priest has said he sort of wrote him as more of like a Chandler Bing type.
Claw?
So like Everett K. Ross.
Oh, Everett K. Ross. Sorry. Yeah, I was a little bit behind. Okay, it's like he doesn't look like Michael J. Fox.
No, like in the book, like in the first issues or that series, he's sort of drawn. He's like a little short guy who's always like sarcastic and snarky.
He's always wearing an orange vest.
No,
going Mallory.
No. But there's a whole thing. Well, like he's like the white guy point of view character into Black Panther's world in this series.
Okay,
and he's constantly getting caught up in like huge shenanigans that Black Panther's involved in. At one point, he is sitting in a room alone while Mephisto, who is like Marvel's version of Satan, is just sitting there in full, like on a demon throne of skulls in the apartment waiting for Black Panther to return. And he's sitting there trying to figure out how to fill the weird, awkward silence. And at this point, at some point, he had lost his pants in an earlier thing. And he was like, they had this conversation and suddenly said like the Mephisto was like, "You seem uncomfortable." Like, yeah, they took my pants. And he was like, "A gift then." And he gives him some pants. And then he goes, "Oh wow, this is awesome. Thank you very much." And he was like, "Oh shit, I just sold my soul for a pair of pants." And it was kind of funny. And then like he tried to take them off and there was always another pair of pants underneath him. So the devil was fucking with everything.
Okay. Oh, it's funny that you say that he's supposed to be like the white guy's perspective, like
in that storyline.
Because that's what every Black story needs, a white man's perspective.
Well, that's kind of what I felt like it was in the movie too. It was like, did they add this guy just so that white people wouldn't be scared to watch a movie with all Black people? Like,
probably,
because everything he does is sort of, to me, it just seems unnecessary. Like that, like it just seems like they wedged in the whole him flying thing, almost like even when he's like asking Shuri like what to do, like she's the middle of a bunch of bullshit.
Him doing the flying thing, like I guess is him showing it like, hey, he's a pilot. Like he was a pilot. like
I
he
think
knows how to fly. So like
Which-
you just can't have him just like give him this backstory, but then not kind of sort of use it.
Yeah, that
Not
was
have him
added
do
for
anything.
that. He was not an Air Force pilot, and he was like a bureaucrat, like a special. Like he's the guy who would escort heads of state around Washington D.C. He was only
He's
supposed
like
to.
Coulson or something, right? Like just like a
Yeah,
no
he's
name.
he's kind of like
Yeah.
that, like the Office of something protocol or something was OCP.
Because I felt like this movie, the only downside to this movie really is the parts with him just flying around. Like I was like, go back to the action. Like I don't care about what he's doing really. Like it just felt
Yeah.
like it was.
So you're
If-
basically
if-
saying the colonizer was getting to you.
Yeah, the colonizer. I love what she calls him, colonizer. That's pretty funny. And then he says, "No, my name's Everett Ross," and she's like, "I know who you are. I'm fucking
Yeah, like-
Shuri. I got all the information in the world at my fingertips. You idiot."
Well, he was a very enjoyable character in the comics, at least
Okay.
and then like
Oh, but I
as
like
soon
the
as Priest
actor, don't get me
left the
wrong.
series- Yeah, but like the way he was written in the comics was a lot, funnier and like quick-witted and really snappy, and also just completely out of his depth and constantly put upon as well. So like he was just constantly trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And in the movies they made him a bit more competent and
yeah,
I mean, not that he wasn't competent, but he was a lot. In the comics, his competence like showed up only like when it really needed to happen. Otherwise, he was just fucking flustered all the time.
well, I mean,
But he brought some humor in the movie too.
He did, but like
yeah,
he like you said, it's not like, oh, I love that guy. It's more like, oh, that guy's
Yeah.
there.
yeah. I felt like he definitely served a purpose because they used him to push along the storyline and all that. Where he's the struggling, like he represents the U.S. struggling with Wakanda over possession of Claw or whatever, and with him saving Nakia's life, she then they have to rush back, like gives them a reason to go back to Wakanda because they got to save him or whatever. I
Right,
guess
right.
so. I don't think he's like completely unnecessary because he does kind of like his reactions to stuff, and it gives like a Koye like I love the little moment where they're pissed off at this stupid American guy. Like this,
Yeah. It's like one of the things though, like also like, he's the white guy point of view because when you're in the late 90s and you're doing a black centered comic book, you have to hold a white guy's hand to get him to start reading. Like, all right, come on, you can read a black lady comic book, Mr.
Maybe it did help get some white people to.
It might have, but he was also the guy like that shows the point of view of how much everyone underestimates Wakanda and Black Panther in particular.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why you need him. Like you need to see you need like just a panel of what America's,
And it was also like a time when he like that story, which has made me a Black Panther fan. I might have been like the dumb white guy that had to be handheld into this.
You're a dumb white guy.
I am, but Black Panther was sort of like the way he was writing Black Panther is like he wasn't like the center of his own story. It was like this guy is coming into this world, and Black Panther is like this was sort of turning him into Marvel's Batman for a while, just like this mysterious, ultra competent, super genius kind of guy that's like monitoring all the world and keeping track of everything and has contingency plans on top of contingency plans. And so like it was him trying to figure out who T'Challa was, and T'Challa not giving him
Marvel's
an inch.
Batman. Is that a comparison people make a lot? Because I see that kind of now.
He's wearing a black costume with pointy ears, but
Well,
and they both have immense amount of wealth and resources.
That's
well, then his parents die. Well, at least his father dies. It's
in the comics he didn't have a mother either. Like his mother had already died in like childbirth or something, so he never knew the mom. He had a stepmom, but
yeah.
A panther's way cooler than a bat.
Yeah, and also, but Batman is not the king of it.
Joe.
TBJ's got to defend her. She's got to defend her Batman.
Watch yourself.
But the difference is T'Challa has to actually run a country, and his priority is being a king, as opposed to fighting crime.
Sure,
like he has to govern. Where Batman is just, I'm going to go out and beat up some mentally ill people, and
yeah,
which is
one's
the most.
A king, one's a vigilante. Both are hot. We're good.
Well,
Yeah.
well, one thing I did make a note of here that it reminded me of with that Snoop Dogg and Psy song is one thing I noticed in the soundtrack or the score is the hip hop beats they play every time we cut to Killmonger. It's like American hip hop music kind of thing, which is kind of a cool transition. It's like you're going to Killmonger now. But it also made me like Killmonger more. I was like, that's another reason I was kind of on the side. I was like, oh yeah, a cool beat, a good beat, and then we're at Michael B. Jordan, and it's like you gotta kind of like the guy, even though he's supposed to be the bad guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like the standard thing is the best villains are the ones whose point of view you can almost see. You're right there. It's like,
like I can relate.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah,
you understand them, you empathize with them, so then you're a little torn too, rather than just kill that guy, hate that guy. Well, then,
although I will say, not to spoil anything, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, their villain is really good because you fucking hate him.
Oh,
is so hateable.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but yeah.
No, I haven't.
I haven't even.
I haven't. Art, you saw it, Art?
I haven't seen it yet.
What about you, TBJ?
I haven't even had a good nap.
I don't think I
came
can
out
see
this
it
weekend.
without seeing a bunch of other stuff. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to mess it up, but I am getting ahead. I'm starting to watch all of them, and then I'll rewatch again before we record them. So I've seen the next one, whatever it is.
What's
Avengers,
the next one?
The Avengers, where they all disappear into the ether.
Infinity War.
Infinity War. Yeah, and I was really surprised.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. But a firefight ensues, and Claw attempts to escape, but he's caught by T'Challa, who reluctantly releases him into Ross's custody. So we get the whole casino scene, or I guess it's a casino.
Yeah. And that look for Okoye
fun.
when she has to wear that wig and the red dress.
Yeah.
That is a callback to her first appearance when the Dora Milaje were first introduced. They weren't all, like hard ass warriors. I think there was only like two of them. And it was Nakia and Koye, and they looked like that. They had
hair.
They had hair, and they were like
dresses.
They're both like flanking T'Challa on all times, and they were super hard. They were still badass fighters, but
in the comics, Nakia was a Dora Milaje because she distinctly says in this she's not
a Dora. Yeah. Originally she was, and then but like when they originally created it, this is something I'm glad they kind of left by the wayside. It was some sort of they were like pseudo wives in training in order to broker a peace between all the tribes. As long as different tribes had a representative that may or may not eventually become the queen or something, like there was a peace there. And T'Challa had no interest in actually being with either one of them, but it was just like a station created to sort of give everybody some potential representation, I guess. And then it got weird because Mephisto did some shit and made Nakia and T'Challa almost hook up or something. And then T'Challa realized, wait, I was just possessed by Mephisto or something. Nakia didn't take that rejection well, and kind of went crazy and villainous. Mephisto. So I'm glad Mephisto is Marvel's Satan, basically. He hasn't been in the MCU yet that we know about.
Okay, yeah, it sounds familiar, but
I think we've talked about him.
You guys have
a few times, like with Wanda, and maybe did we talk about him with Iron Man?
Maybe he'll probably come in around the time Doctor Doom shows up.
Is Doctor Doom confirmed to be in the MCU?
Not yet, but
I would assume if you
do a Fantastic
Four, not if, like when.
Yeah, and nothing's off limits, Joe.
Yeah, it's like you can't have Doctor Doom. I mean, you can't have Fantastic Four without Doctor Doom.
I feel like Doom should actually. Doom could carry his own movie if done right. This should just be the story of Doctor Doom.
So you saying it wouldn't be like what's the Jared Leto one would suck? Why can't I think of the
Joker?
Spider-Man villain.
Spider-Man
villain. Yeah. You saying it wouldn't be Morbius?
It would not be Morbin time.
Wasn't he Mysterio? I don't think of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking of Morbius. Just It was not good, but it was specifically his vehicle.
Morbius, the living vampire.
Morbius was a movie on its own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and it did very badly, but then nerds sort of
liked it.
no, they didn't, but they had fun mocking it so much, and they talked about
It became
like,
so bad it was fun to see.
Really?
yeah, and I think they sarcastically asked, "Oh, you should re-release it. We'll all go see it this time." And then like they put it back out in theaters, and still nobody showed up. Like Morbius.
When was this? When like how long?
Like last year, I think, or
okay.
not long ago.
That's funny.
I think it was like about a year ago, about this time, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Well, this whole casino fight scene was really cool.
Yeah,
and
very awesome.
And the chase scene is really awesome. The car chases and the car falling apart, and Okoye really just steps out as a real badass in these two scenes, like kicking people's ass with her spear, and then when she gets on top of the car, it doesn't give a fuck. Like it just and it falls apart, and she's like surfing it, like surf riding it, and I mean that whole chase scene was cool. Yeah, I remember the first time I had to watch like 4 times, because the first time watching I was like, who's chasing who? What's happening? I don't know. It's like so fast and so good, but it's such a good 2 back-to-back scenes. I thought was really cool.
Yeah. It's that thing like that Marvel can do. Like they did it in Avengers, where they're just sort of panning through a whole bunch of people fighting in different ways at the same time.
So cool.
And having a great transition between them. And there's another one of those in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But I'll stop talking about that.
I feel like you want to talk about the movie, Andy.
Okay.
Like you really feel like I feel like your lips are burning because you got like spoiler just want to ooze out.
Sure, but no one else has seen it, so I'm not going to spoil it for anybody else.
Andy's lips are burning.
I appreciate that, Andy. I appreciate that.
Do you feel some type of way by you being the only one of us who's seen it?
Some type of way, I'm sure. Yeah, kind of. It's fun. Like, I know a thing that you guys only barely care about.
Well, you guys only. I think everybody cares about it, probably.
Yeah, probably. It's good movie.
But Claw tells Agent Ross that Wakanda is not a third world nation at all, but a technological superpower. But before they can go any further, Killmonger attacks their hideout and rescues Claw. And this is when Black Panther sees Killmonger for the first time and notices the ring as he's driving away. And I was going to ask, is the mask that Killmonger wears that he got out of the museum, that's a nod to like what he looked like in the comics type of thing, or not?
I don't remember seeing that particular look, but
I don't think it was. I think it was a nod to the museum. They just robbed and taking back their ancestral goods.
Yeah, but I mean, like Killmonger in the comics is supposed to tower above T'Challa. Like he's this massive dude who's just completely. I mean, every other way, but like he's fine. Like he's super cut and ripped, and is a guy that T'Challa cannot beat in a fight. Like multiple times, T'Challa just like cannot get the job done. He's got tall and has super long dreadlocks and stuff. And at one point, he actually sort of stole the whole arc with Killmonger beating him and throwing him over the falls. That's right out of the comic books. Like, and then becoming the Black Panther himself.
Oh, okay.
He didn't become the king, but he became the Black Panther, and he even tried to join the Avengers as Black Panther for a minute.
Oh, really? Killmonger did?
Yeah, for like 2 issues, and then he's like, "All right, this is bullshit." But it was really cool.
Like, fuck this shit.
Well, this is when Ross is severely injured, like we talked about, and so rather than chase Claw, T'Challa takes Ross to Wakanda, where the medical technology can save him, because he saves Nakia. When Ross arrives to Shuri's lab, there's a thing I made note of. She says, "Oh, another broken white boy for us to fix." Now, my question is that alluding to Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we know Winter Soldier's there already, or?
Yeah, we already saw it at the end of Civil War.
We've seen it. Yeah, we've seen him there.
Okay.
They took him there because it's like, all right, just put me under cryostasis, and when you figure out how to cure me, then wake me up again.
Gotcha. Right. I couldn't remember like when that cutscene was, because I know there's a cutscene in this one also with Winter wolf lion or white tiger or whatever
The
they call
White
it.
Wolf.
White
wolf,
tiger.
white tiger.
White Tiger is a whole different character.
Your mom was a different character last night. Sorry, I lost it. Anyway, Martin Freeman has a son named Joe that is a vegetarian, just so you know.
Okay.
And Simon Pegg is his son's godfather. So just a little knowledge about Martin Freeman for you.
All right.
Is Martin Freeman related to Morgan Freeman?
He is not, that I'm aware, that I've discovered. But his son Joe is a vegetarian. And you know who Simon Pegg is, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we all know who Simon Pegg is, right?
He is Martin Freeman's son's godfather because they're good buds. Wakabi expresses his disappointment at T'Challa, given the whole more of the same speech. I thought things were going to be different when you took over, but your father was nothing and you're nothing. And then Killmonger kills Claw, shoots him, and kills his girlfriend too. And while Shuri heals Ross, T'Challa confronts Zuri about N'Jobu. That's when he's like, hey, wait a minute, what the fuck is this? He had the ring, what the hell? And so Zuri explains that back in the 90s, on a war dog assignment, which Artstar wasn't sure about, N'Jobu was planning to give Wakandan technology to people of African descent across the globe so that they could overthrow their oppressors with it. And then this is when I made a point of the comment that made me kind of be on N'Jobu's side when he says, you know, they flooded our communities with drugs and weapons and then overly policed us, overly incarcerated us. And it's like, you're exactly right. And the only thing to save you is
overthrowing the entire government.
no Wakandan technology. What's the blue vibranium?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so I get it. That's why I was kind of like, yeah, he's got a, I don't know. And then it's T'Chaka arrests N'Jobu. N'Jobu attacks Zuri, leaving T'Chaka no choice but to kill him. We see that in the flashback. And then he ordered Zuri to lie about what happened and say that N'Jobu had simply disappeared. However, they left behind N'Jobu's son, who T'Challa realizes is in fact Killmonger.
Mhm.
And that's pretty shitty.
Janaka.
And we talked about that in the last couple episodes. That was pretty shitty that he
Yeah.
did that.
And T'Challa recognizes that.
But I don't
And-
know why. Like, why did they lie about it? Like, why not just say what happened?
I don't think it was more of an omission, don't you think?
I mean, you know, it's a lie of omission. Why did they do this? They needed to preserve.
I mean, I get why they killed him, but why not just tell the Wakandans, just, hey, he was doing this, I had to kill him. Did he not think they would agree with him? Or he attacked him and I defended him, and
I don't think that was an issue at all.
It might have been. You know, he killed his brother. He killed the Prince of Wakanda.
But I don't think of it that way. I think of it as I think of him having put his country before his family, which is a pain point that we see for T'Challa.
Yeah.
And I think as a king, he might not have felt he needed to explain himself.
That's possible. And
I think
also,
it's that simple.
They're staunch isolationists as well. And I think that's why they didn't bring in Jadaka back, is because he was, you know, raised at the age of 8 or 9 in America, and they didn't.
And they could have. I do think he should have brought him back. The kid
Yeah,
back.
he should have.
I don't. Yeah.
But that's the thing that they are wrong about.
But I think that's where he was. Yeah.
but he does say, "Speak nothing of this."
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's more of I don't have to tell people shit. I'm a king. I don't think he thinks.
Either that.
I'm sure he feels bad because that's his brother.
Yeah, that would be a huge disgrace on the royal family, I think, and might cause some instability in Wakanda between the tribes.
But I don't think he thinks it's on him badly.
All right, speaking of royal family, TBJ, did you watch the coronation of the king of?
No, I don't give a damn about Charles.
But didn't you say you watched the royal wedding?
Because I was rooting for everybody black.
Wait, they're There are black people in the royals.
Meghan Markle.
Meghan Markle.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
would.
right.
Yes.
Is she? But didn't they leave the priesthood or the whatever it's called?
They gave up.
Did
their
you say
title.
priesthood?
He's always. I mean, he's always a prince at the end of the day. That's still his lineage.
He's always a prince. So if
I mean, he might have given up a title, but he literally was born of a king. Like you can't change that.
Okay, he went full Prince Zamunda.
Who's I'm trying to think of an example of a prince in Disney that wasn't there a frog prince, like a frog that turns into a prince?
That was the princess.
Prince Naveen.
Is that?
I guess the prince.
Princess and the Pea? I don't know.
Princess and
Frog.
the Frog.
Naveen is his name.
But he turns into a prince, right?
No, he is a prince who's turned into a frog.
Oh, turns into a frog. Okay, so say that guy before he gets turned into a frog leaves, like says, "Screw you, royal family, I'm out of here," and then goes and lives with the girl he falls in love with or whatever. He's still a prince, even if he left.
Not by like he's not. He has no right to the title, but you still are born of royalty, so you can't change your birthright. You just change the title and what you could inherit.
Okay, like the Von Erichs.
And no one's calling him by his title, but he's always going to be Prince Harry.
Or like the Hart family, like even Bruce Hart is one of the Hart Foundation, even though he's
this is not the Joe-verse. Not the Joe-verse.
He never tagged with Jim the Anvil. And a little known fact, when speaking of the Hart family, Davy Boy Smith ended up marrying another Hart's wife after he divorced his wife, who was a Hart.
That's weird.
It was weird. Or he ended up dating another one or something. Another was one of the other Hart's wives. I don't know. Anyway.
What a great fact.
Yeah, shut up, Andy. The Hart Foundation. This is all about the Hart Foundation. Where were we at? So he ordered him to lie. He says, "Don't tell him what happened." TBJ says he didn't order him. Killmonger takes Claw's body to Wakanda, bringing it.
I didn't say he didn't order him. I don't think it is for the same reasons we would think a normal person would be motivated by.
Yeah, he shouldn't have to explain himself, is what you're thinking. He's thinking. Shuri explains sonic stabilizers and magnetic levitation trains to Ross, so we kind of get that whole, exposition about how these trains work, so we can understand it later when they're fighting, I guess. And then Ross.
I think another reason he told him to shut up is that he doesn't want that sentiment to spread, like the anti-action, like wanting to get involved in the rest of the world. Like Wakanda has been so isolated and so secret for so long.
Oh, so yeah, okay, I can see that. So also don't speak of this because we don't want that idea getting in other people's heads.
Yeah, we don't want this to happen again.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that makes sense. After the magic levitation trains, Ross explains who Killmonger is. It said he graduated Annapolis School of Seamanship at age 19. MIT for grad school. He joined the SEALs, Afghanistan, got the name Killmonger, joined a JSOC ghost unit, where this is where I wanted to ask TBJ as the military person here, if she can explain what a JSOC ghost unit is.
Not in detail. That's not my branch of the military, but I'm going to guess the title. And sorry for the listeners. That is me beeping. I'm going to guess by the title. It's going to be, there are sections of the military you don't need to know about. They take out, gotcha. they carry missions you don't need to know.
So
Joint
like a
Special Operations Command.
Joints?
Yeah, there's.
We lost her for a second. So ghost unit means it's like secret.
Yeah,
like
so many security features. I will note that when I was in the military, their security clearance up each rank you go or whatever you're handling. And so that is probably one that's got the toughest clearance to have.
So did you ever like have intelligence that other people did and then lord it over them? Like
no, I didn't lord anything over anyone. Two, I did have to have particular clearance because sometimes I drove dignitaries if they were visiting the place that I was located.
Oh man,
so I had to have a particular clearance for that because of that, and sometimes I had to transport foreigners. I was a transportation person.
Oh, yeah,
So if I had to transport foreigners, so I had to have a level of clearance. I will note that my credit wasn't great when I joined. And so I had to clear it all up because they don't want you susceptible to bribes. So I had to completely clean up my credit to get the level of security clearance I needed.
Is that why we can't bribe you now in a San Excelsior?
Probably. I'm also just a tourist, so it's hard to bribe me.
That is super interesting. That's really interesting to know. Can you imagine being a dignitary and TBJ's your driver? That'd be awesome.
They loved me. I was a great airman.
I bet you were. Everybody loves TBJ. You can't now.
And that's kind of what Everett K. Ross was. He was like, you have to shepherd dignitaries around.
Okay.
And then he was only supposed to like accompany T'Challa in Washington, D.C. for like 3 days for some reason because he was there investigating something.
Okay.
And then suddenly he got completely caught up in his life.
So that explains why, out of all of the MCU, TBJ is most attracted to Everett Ross's character.
Correct.
Is that it? Forget the Hemsworth. It's all about us.
Everett Ross is all about Martin Freeman. Well, he is a Hobbit, and you love Harry Potter, so
he was not. Hobbits aren't Harry Potter.
That's the next. We'll have to watch the Lord of the Rings.
No one will ever convince me that hobbits aren't Harry Potter. Okay,
we're gonna watch all the Harry Potters and then Lord of the Rings, and then we've got a lot to cover.
Okay, well, Ross also goes on to say that, or somebody says that Killmonger has a war dog tattoo. Maybe it wasn't Ross, but he has a war dog. I think Shuri says it. Maybe he has a war dog tattoo, but we have no record of him, and that's the lip tattoo. And then I think that's when he shows up to the throne room and reveals his identity as T'Challa's cousin and puts forth his claim to the throne.
Can we just talk about that? Hey, Auntie.
Hey, yes. I just made a note of that. Hey, Auntie was going to be the next thing I wrote because that was
it was so smooth.
Because she was like, "Oh, who is that? Hey, Auntie." That was so fucking funny. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's what I had a little note about that. I can't remember exactly how he said it or where he said it, but you could see the elder's face, like, what the, who is that? And he's just so smooth with it. And so Killmonger challenges T'Challa to ritual combat. He kills Zuri, then defeats T'Challa, throwing him over the waterfall, as we kind of alluded to. And then he ingests the heart-shaped herb to gain the power of the Black Panther, and then orders that the rest of the herbs be incinerated. But Nakia manages to extract one last herb first. Not herb. Or is it herb?
Not to be confused with peaches and herb.
Peaches and herb.
I say herb, but some people say herbs.
If you're British, you say herb because of the fucking H in it, according to Eddie Izzard.
Okay. Killmonger is supported by W'Kabi and his army and prepares to distribute shipments of vibranium around the world. Because he, like I said, I think we alluded also to this, that he knew there's already spies everywhere and they're already ready and they're just activating them. Nakia, Shuri, Ramonda, and Ross flee to the Jabari tribe to get help. And Ramonda is Angela Bassett, who should always be the lead character in everything she's in. They find a comatose T'Challa who has been cared for by the Jabari tribe in return for his benevolence and sparing M'Baku's life. I think we already talked about this. Is Angela Bassett, did she do Black Panther just because of how meaningful it is in the Black community, or do you think they just had to throw a ton of money at her? Like, because she's
I don't know if it was. I mean, actresses audition for things that speak to them, but I don't recall her doing such an in-depth interview as to why.
But hey, Ryan Coogler.
I think you inherently know. Yeah, you inherently know it's going to be special, but probably not this special.
Yeah, I mean, Angela Bassett. Or did they promise her own feature movie with Ramonda as the badass
She don't need no promises. She Angela Bassett. She gonna get a top role regardless.
Yeah, she's just so good. Anyway, shit, where was I at? Healed by the herb. Now I can't say herb right. I want to say herb right now. I want to say herb. Healed by the herb, T'Challa returns to Wakanda to fight Killmonger. Shuri, Nakia, and the Dora Milaje join T'Challa, and confronted by Okoye, Wakabi and his army stand down after a little while, after a big battle.
Which the climactic battle of the
whole thing, which was movie, awesome. I mean, it was
And Okoye had to basically say, I like stand up and threaten to kill her own husband.
Yeah, she said, I will. And she does choose again. She chooses,
she takes her role. She chooses honor. And not honor. Just blind loyalty
over her love. Yeah, like she's she's choosing nation over love in the opposite way.
Well, he would say he's choosing nation because he's sticking with the current king. Right. But she knows that was ill-acquired.
And like T'Challa says, I am not dead, and I never yielded. So that gives Okoye permission to go, all right.
Right. And now she can say, country over.
I don't blame her. I mean, if you are my spouse and I'm coming at you and you dare come at me too, you dare.
You're trying to sick your rhino on me? Yeah.
Right. Oh my God, dude.
And that was the best. When she steps immediately. When she steps in front of that rhino and it just kisses her like that.
I love the fact that there are rhinos. Wakabi runs a rhino farm, I guess, and he can summon war rhinos to beat the shit out of people when he wants to. I love that is an option.
Yeah, those are badass rhinos. But that my dog doesn't like. My dog wants to get the rhinos every time they're on the screen. She perks up and somehow she only notices animals on TV. I don't know how she notices them, but she jumps up and barks at them. So she wants to get that rhino. Where are we at? Fighting in the vibranium mine. Yeah, so towards the end of this, Killmonger and Black Panther, he saves Shuri and then knocks him off the side of the cliff, and they fall into the vibranium mine. And T'Challa manages to stab Killmonger, and Killmonger refuses to allow himself to be healed, as he would rather die a free man than live in prison. I guess what I skipped in here somewhere, I guess throughout the whole thing, when there's this whole big battle, again, it's that Everett Ross thing where he's trying to fly the plane, and Shuri's got to walk him through, and it feels like they originally wrote this like Shuri's just is like a man in a chair somewhere staring at a screen telling him what to do, but she's in the middle of an intense battle beating the shit out of people. How does she have time to be like, oh, do this now, do that?
She's a top-notch chick, and that's what women do every goddamn day.
She's got an earpiece. She knows her shit. She knows exactly what she built and how to operate it. And she trusts Ross and to be pilot enough to understand.
Shut the fuck up, Ross.
No, she would probably rather him check in and figure out what he's doing right than mess up her shit. Like, let's be honest. If I'm going to leave you to take care of something that's mine, even if I'm in the midst of something, I'd rather you check in instead of trying to figure out yourself and damage my stuff.
Make an X with your hands. And she's
gonna release it. Yeah. But while she's also fighting, like, you can tell she's busy, but she's smart and can multitask.
I don't know. That's when he got annoying to me. I was like, get him out of here. This is an awesome battle. I don't know. I guess I don't know. It's like in Star Wars.
Are you saying you were fed up with the white man? Is that what you're saying, Joe?
Down with the white man
of daily life.
Screw white guys. They're done. It's over. They've jumped the shark. Anyway, Killmonger would rather die a free man than live in a prison. And he kind of talks about, my ancestors buried me in the ocean because they knew, the ones who jumped the ship knew, it was better.
Death was better than what was coming.
What was coming, yeah.
And he wasn't wrong. I mean, that's not the exact quote, but essentially that's
something like that. Yeah, but it was just
bondage.
It was pretty heavy kind of poignant statement. Then T'Challa establishes an outreach center at the building in Oakland where MC Hammer got his start rapping on the streets.
I am Hammer.
Are you going to place Hammer in the MCU?
Well, that's
They put him in the MCU.
Yeah, he's in the MCU. He is. I think where that outreach center is towards the end of this movie is where Hammer came up with the lyrics for "Pumps and a Bump."
Pumps and a bump. Pumps in.
We like the girls with a pumps and a bump. That's a great song. Anyway,
back at a group we
say it again.
Did the show in the 8th grade, and my group and I danced to Pumps and a Bumps.
Wait, say that again, TBJ. We lost you for a second. I heard the end of it, but
I think it's gonna block every time I talk. But in the 8th grade, my friends and I did a talent show, and we danced to MC Hammer's Pumps and a Bumps.
Pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump.
Do you have video of that anywhere?
No video proof.
Because I think that came out. Gosh, you were in 8th grade. Well, you are a youngin.
That was early 90s or like mid 90s. That was after he sort of crashed. But then I think Snoop Dogg had signed him.
Yeah, he signed with Suge Knight. That's when he became Hammer. He wasn't MC Hammer anymore.
Yeah, he was on Death Row.
Yeah, he joined Death Row. Yeah, right. Because I think I was either in college or out of college by then. Maybe I was in college. Anyway, he's in Oakland where Njobu died, and he's doing that outreach center, which will be overseen by
Nakia.
I almost said Nakia and Shuri, and he intends. Where it is. I don't know why I keep losing my spot. He intends for the center to be the first in a series of efforts by Wakanda to help uplift impoverished communities around the world. T'Challa appears before the United Nations, finally revealing Wakanda's true identity as a technological superpower. I love that part where the guy's like, and what makes you think we care about what a bunch of farmers are doing? And he's got that smile kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. The whole of like only fools build walls. Something we build bridges, only fools build walls, which is like a direct smack in the face of the whole build the wall Trumpy shit.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
Build a giant wall. That'll solve all our problems.
Well, I think even besides the fact that even if how dumb it is, even if the wall did anything, the whole thing is it wouldn't do anything. Like it's not, you can't build a wall around everything. Like it's still gonna be, it's
planes, boats.
Yeah, I'd build a dome around it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think those are just the cutscenes, right? I think those were both the cutscenes, the Oakland thing and the UN thing. Was there another one? I can't. Oh, the other one was White Wolf.
Yeah, at the end.
Gray Wolf or whatever he's.
Gray Wolf.
You had it right the first time.
Gray Wolf is a Game of Thrones.
Well, there are hobbits in Game of Thrones also. So Harry Potter, hobbits, Game of Thrones are all the same thing. And that's
not the same.
So we got through Black Panther. I kind of sped through the end because I feel like we had already alluded to pretty much everything that happened.
Right.
We did, and this is like our 15th attempt to record Black Panther.
And we've been talking about Black Panther throughout I feel like the whole time we've been doing this podcast, we've been kind of alluding to Black Panther. It
did win our one of our brackets last year at Heroes Con, so
it did.
It's a very important show, a very important
favorite superhero movie.
Favorite superhero
remains one of the MCU's best.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good. Yeah, I mean, it's just like Marvel does it again. Like it's just they've got this formula. They suck you in. Kick-ass scene, kick-ass scene, kick-ass action scene. Important stuff that with the people you care about, and then kick-ass fight scenes. I mean, it's just like it's got kick-ass. I mean, the action and what they can do now just is amazing. So
I think there's so much cool shit in there.
I think the next thing is when it's going to be like immersive movies where you're inside the movie. I don't know if you guys have
You
heard
are
of
the movie.
this whole thing, this dome that they have in Vegas, I guess they're building. It's like an immersive concerts and everything else, where it's just like you're going to be in the world. That it's going to be like complete 360 movies probably someday, where you're inside of it.
It might be.
That's the only thing to top this, I think. This where we're at now. I mean, we're at a great time. We're way better than we are when the Incredible
Barbarella
Hulk
came out.
Well, that, yeah, and the first Avengers with Captain America wearing a motorcycle helmet.
They're gonna figure out a way to make smell-o-vision work, so you can smell everybody.
Smell farts.
Yeah, you can smell when Seth Rogen farts in a movie.
I think they already have that work in the works. Like that presentation we did the other day with those immersive guys at Stage Door. They said they have places that are doing that now. Like they're shooting mist at you if it's a water thing, and they're putting scents in the air. You know, rides are doing that. I think. I don't know.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
take
I know.
in
Like
the Disney immersive experience.
Yeah, and the movie rides, like I rode the Transformers ride at Universal Studios Hollywood, and like there's a minute, like Megatron points his gun at you, and there's like a burst of heat that comes into your face.
Oh, really? Yeah. So they do those things. That's what I've heard. Those
Yeah.
rides. I've never done any of that stuff, but I've heard those are cool.
Yeah, there's one. I can't remember the name of it, but it takes you around the world. Essentially, it like takes you over peaks, and it takes you in the forest, and you can smell the flowers and the rain coming, and like it's everything.
Yeah, that's probably
and the other thing on the Universal tour is like there's a point where you sort of pull into the station and you get like a mini Fast and Furious scene playing all around, as if it's like they're fighting all around the little tram you're on, and like this tram will shake a little bit when a explosion goes off, and there's like a shot of like a missile coming through, and it's moving so fast that you can almost swear it blew right by your face and blew something else up on the other side.
That's cool.
Or King Kong is fighting dinosaurs and smacking them into the tram, and you're shaking and stuff like that. They have weight. That's I guess the future is. And now like they can put it in your chair or something. They can like put it. They have rumble packs on Xbox controllers or whatever, where it makes your controller shake when explosions and shit happen. They can do that with your chair in the movie theater if they want.
Do you think the future of executions will be like, how do you want to be executed? Do you want Hulk to smash you, or do you want to be blown up by Iron Man and they'll have like a simulation of
I highly doubt that.
You want to be shot to the moon?
You want to be shot out of a cannon directly into a brick wall?
Or do you want Iron Balls McGinty to kick you in the balls? Or do you want to break your foot kicking Iron Balls McGinty from the jerk? Maybe not.
Iron Balls McGinty.
That was a character.
It was.
And this is another episode of the Iron Balls McGinty podcast.
Lord help us all.
Have either of you seen The Jerk?
I have.
TBJ or Art Star, have you seen it?
With Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Martin.
That's a different Martin.
Martin. Anyway, so we're done. And what did you? Okay, we'll go around the horn. You guys all hated it. I'm the only one who liked it.
No, it's
sure, Joe, if that's what you want the general public to believe, but they also aren't dumb, so they know that's not true.
Boom, yes. Burn. And this is our chance to tell the general public you can come see us at Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina.
June 16th, 17th, and 18th.
That's right. We're still in the process of developing what exactly we're going to be doing in our panels there, but
the only guarantee is there will be nudity.
That is not a guarantee. There will be fun, no nudity, unless you play a certain price and you can get Art Star's thigh meat.
Yes, you can. You will. We will be auctioning off one night alone with Art Star to do whatever you want to do.
Bring those dollars.
$dollar bills.
I accept Bitcoin only.
Oh, but then I don't think you're going to like
Bitcoin and Ethereum.
What about vibranium?
If you have some vibranium, bring it. Bring it.
What would you guys? What would be the first thing you guys did with vibranium if you had vibranium?
Well, I don't know what you can do with the raw ore. I don't know how someone's going to shape it without a whole country dedicated to actually refining it.
You're good at ruining everything.
I'm starting a tribe of people, and we're going to figure that out. That's what I'm going to do, and we're going to mine it. We're going to figure out how to do it right. But we're going to go undercover and have our own nation in the tropics somewhere. You won't know we exist. It'll be all women, too.
All right.
Yeah, screw you, dudes.
Yep.
Exactly. That's how I feel all the time.
Yeah, white dudes have jumped the shark for sure. Especially Andy. No offense.
Yeah, I'm pretty shitty, but I did love this movie. I was so excited that it exists.
Yeah.
And there was a great deal of what I first fell in love with Black Panther stories in this film. So it was just hitting all my nerd buttons, and it made me happy, and I'm glad everyone else loved it too. And I'm glad it had such a huge impact.
It was really good. Yeah. And now we move on to
incredible.
Yeah, and I feel like now it's good because I feel like in a lot of ways this is what we were leading up to in a lot of ways. Like you guys kept like trying not to say stuff about Black Panther because it was such an important movie to all you guys. Now you can say these things. But now we move on to Avengers
Infinity War.
Oh,
yes.
Which, spoiler alert, this is where everybody disappears.
Yes. This is like the first part of a 2-part Avengers story that is the culmination of the entire MCU up to this point.
So this one and Endgame are like 2-part?
Yeah.
It's like a 2-part. Because that's the thing,
yes.
like I did watch it already. What's that?
One big story.
Oh, one big story. Yeah. I guess the whole thing is all the Avengers ones are one big story. But
yeah,
that's valid.
It's been building to ever since the end of the first Avengers movie, where you get that little cutscene at the end, and Thanos sort of grins. To challenge them is to court death, and Thanos grins because his big thing in the storyline is he wants to be in love with actual death. But this is
where we figure out the Infinity Stones and all that shit.
Yeah, all the Infinity Stones come into the fore, and you find out why he's doing this and what his plans are, and can anybody stop him?
So
can all these heroes get together and stop him?
Next episode, we'll delve into more Doctor Strange is back, and Spider-Man, and Iron Man, and everybody.
But like the Avengers aren't.
Black Widow's
broke up because the Civil War, so they're not together. They're in disarray.
They're all in different places and kind of come back together a little bit. And
Captain America and his crew
Wanda,
are in hiding.
Vision
and Wanda was in Captain America's crew, but Vision was not. But they're stealing their moments away, and everyone seems to be leaning more towards Cap was right.
And we'll get to that. We'll get to all this very soon in the next episode of Nerd School. But for now, we got to get out of here, and
we got to get out of this place.
And we might be having a couple of interesting little bits coming up soon, because the Nerd School has been invited to a special event, a premiere of a Marvel exhibit at the Discovery Place in Charlotte. So we're not really sure what to expect and what's going to be there, but we're going to try to get at least some footage for YouTube, if not some audio for podcastery. And
there will be some goodness coming.
We'll share something with y'all.
We'll be
for sure.
Yeah, so check us out, and you can listen to Nerd School on YouTube too. It's on the History for Dirks channel. Every time we put out an episode, it comes out on YouTube also.
That's correct.
Just so everybody knows that, in case you didn't know.
That's a way to get it.
And now you know. If you don't know, now you know.
And also, out of nowhere, just for nerds, how would you introduce someone to Star Wars who has never seen any Star Wars?
Yes.
What?
Oh, good question. Because what order?
What order would you watch the films?
Star Wars Rebels first.
Yes.
I would start with Order 66. I would start with Order 66.
Nope. start with making them read the 3 Heir to the Empire books from Timothy Zahn from the early.
No, in all honesty, tell us if you would go 4, 5,
just
6, 1, 2,
start
3,
by
or
reading
1
Thrawn.
through 6.
Start by reading Thrawn.
I think that the choices would have to be either start with the 4, 5, 6,
or start with droids.
Start in chronological order,
or the Christmas special.
There's no other. Yeah, just the holiday special on repeat for 3
Just
hours.
the B. Arthur scenes and the Art Carney scenes, and that's it.
No, you need Itchy and Lumpy in there as well.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of Itchy and Lumpy, I got to go take an Itchy Lumpy. So,
bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Nerds.
Excelsior!
Excelsior!
I gotta go take.
Thank you for listening to the Nerd School podcast.
They say I can't rap about the president no more, but evidently they don't see we in the streets still poor. Still more incarceration of my kinsmen by the prisons, and people thinking this election to end racism. Proud over pessimism, glad to see Obama, but don't expect me not to speak out when I still see problems, Mr. Officer. Now they POTUS look like me, you gon' think again when seeing brothers rolling down the street. Every Martin Luther King on his American dream. Still a Rodney being beaten, screaming fuck the police. Me, I'm running through the pasture, trying to get away from master, but the dogs is on my ass, I gotta move a little faster. Can't pass for Caucasian, but I got a couple papers from the plantation saying I graduated. Congratulations, cool beans, but to most school mean trying to dodge STDs, living off government cheese. Trust the government, please. Not even if it was me sitting in the Oval Office as commander-in-chief, trying to give us free, but there's a nigga in my ear saying, you got it, Superman, you ought to keep it here. Get this distinctly clear, I'm all about jetting. Raps Kunta Kinte without the half-stepping. A new chapter, back with new lessons. After that, the final exam. Any questions?
QueenCityPodcastNetwork.com.
Excelsior.